Hey, we got ourselves a campaign countdown. I'm Michael. I'm with my buddy Matt. Go for it.
Hey, how's it going?
We're also joined by the Mythoverse crew guys. How are you doing?
Couldn't be better. It's been a very exhausting week, but this is a perfect way to unwind.
We've got Dan, Matt, and Brett here,
Howdy.
and
Hey guys.
we're going to be talking about their new campaign with just launch, guys. So you can actually go get it right now. It's out there. We'll go ahead and put the link in the link to it in the chat. And but what do you? I mean, how are you guys feeling this on your first day of the campaign?
Well, it's actually strangely relieving and relaxing to finally just get it over with and launch it. I think
Really?
a lot of the anxiety is the anticipation, but now I've actually heard a lot of veterans say that they were a lot more afraid of combat before the combat actually started. Once it started, they got into a zone and kind of felt oddly calm and just got the stuff done, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Nice. How
Same.
about you, Brett? How are you feeling about the campaign right now?
Not real. Kind of. I'm not really sure what to feel like. It's just like. I mean, on the plus side, I'm glad we got a backer, and I know who that is. Thanks, Clay. That guy's he's a solid guy.
He really is.
Yeah, I don't think we know of anyone who'd say that he'd be the very first one and then jump right to it as soon as it went up.
Well, Clay has certainly earned himself one of the early bird backer specials. Now that we have a backer, I guess we can go ahead and talk about those. The first 20 backers to back at the highest level will receive a promo code for the Adobe Kroger Knight Errant audiobook, now available on Audible. And they will receive a free copy of the audiobook for their contributions to the Mythoverse.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yes, and it's a solid book. It's 15 hours long. It's Addison Peacock is the narrator, and she does an exquisite job at bringing Adobe to life and Adobe's world to life, and you're going to love this book. Thanks, Clay.
And so is she the one who does the voice acting for Adobe on the trailer as well?
Yes, she does. And if you want to go ahead and watch the trailer, I'll go ahead and drop a link to that in the as well as to an extended audio sample of the audiobook if you want a taste of the audiobook in case you need any incentive to go ahead and jump on at the highest level before everyone else gets it. I will do that right now.
Now, for people who are maybe just joining us and are not familiar with what you guys are doing, what is the Mythoverse all about?
Do you want me to go?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, the Mythoverse is a brand new shared comic universe, primarily set in an urban fantasy setting. It encompasses an entire world of different mythologies, from the pagan mythologies to Celtic to medieval Western Christian mythologies. And it's a kind of a wonderful accident that it came together like it did. But what we have here is a universe that has a wide variety of narrative possibilities of all genres and all approaches to storytelling. We have romance, action, adventure, mystery, teen drama, and even some horror on the horizon that I'm very happy to report. So what we have here is a universe populated by living, breathing characters, created by passionate, driven people that love comics and storytelling in general. And we're going to do everything in our power to make this a wonderful experience for all of our readers.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And it sounds like you guys are really passionate about your work that you guys do.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that we are. I mean, all of us have day jobs. All of us have 40-hour work weeks, and all of us have to pay the bills that way. But when we come home, this is what we like to do. We like to sort of escape into our worlds, build wonderful stories with characters that we ourselves care about, and stories that our artists are excited to draw. I know for a fact that every time Leandro turns in a page, it's an event for both of us, because we get this much closer to bringing everything to fruition. And I don't know if everyone had a chance to see, but Leandro literally just before we went live turned in this astounding pinup of all three girls and a little friend in the background that is hinting. That's an interesting way of putting it, I suppose. Yes, it is a friend, and this is it's sort of a taste of what is to come if we can manage to fund this initial launch of the brand. And that's what we're doing here. We're not asking people to just buy a book from each of us or one of us, whatever their preferences are. What we're asking people to do is have confidence in our ability to build this brand into something truly amazing. And I honestly think that we have everything we need to do so. We just need to be able to pay our team. That's really what it's coming down to right now, because we're asking them to put a lot of. We are perfectionists when it comes to telling our stories, and we found artists that can deliver that, but it takes a lot of time and effort on their parts, and they have to eat, they got to pay their bills. And if we're going to ask them to put forth all this time to make these stories as good as we want them to be, we need to be able to pay them. So that's what we're trying to do with this campaign.
Nice. Yeah, and we have the the pinup right here up on the screen for everyone to see.
Oh, yes.
That came out beautifully. It is just amazing. I love to see all the other characters in his style too. That's so fun.
Yeah, that was something we've been wanting to get together for quite some time. It's just Leandro's had his hands full with the Adobe Kroger interiors. But he got to a good point now. He's got 9 pages turned in, laying out one. And he said, look, I've been wanting to draw the 3 gal pals for the longest time. Do you have an idea for me? And I said, well, yeah, matter of fact, I do.
I see what you mean. There's a dragon there in the background, it looks like.
Yes, that is a dragon, to say the least. That is a colossal kaiju dragon. And the 3 leading ladies having their charge moment, if you will. Like nice. right as the music swells and they've got the dragon at their back and they're all winding up and ready to engage the enemy.
I actually have the perfect one, because I think what we kind of plan this being is like kind of how we said we kind of want to canonize the pinup that Luigi gave us for the campaign. We also want to canonize that little pinup that Leandro put together there. And when I was pitching the idea in what I had in my head to Matt and Dan, I told them, okay, I basically want us to do Godzilla Final Wars.
Is that the one with the 2 Asian girls? No, that's not that's Malta. Sorry, which one's Final Wars?
Godzilla Final Wars. It's the one where it was the last one to come out of Japan. It was like back in 2004, and you had like it had aliens taking over the planet, and it was all epic and apocalyptic, and Godzilla was just stomping through, mowing down monster after monster because he was the only ace in the hole that humanity had left. Nobody saw it.
No, I mean, well. Do we have any kaiju fans out there?
I believe it.
Anyone in the chat seen it?
Okay, I'll just say though, when I looked at that pinup that Leandro handed, I already knew exactly what music was playing through my head. I'm posting it in the chat right now. I even posted on Twitter that there are 2 specific scenes from that movie I want to recreate. It's one where he's fighting Gigan, and after he's released from being frozen in ice for like a X amount of years. Here's he's just like, I'm not, yeah, what happens is like Gigan's got these chains in his hands and his blades, and he just launches them and tries to pull Godzilla in, and all Godzilla does is he's just like, really, and he just aims right at him, hits him with atomic breath, and blows Gigan's head off. And he just falls down. Second one is something that made a lot of Godzilla fans very happy. Was he's in Sydney. He's fighting the American Godzilla, who has now since been rechristed to Zilla. And I'm talking like the first one, the one that everybody hates.
The one with
Project.
yeah.
Yep. So what he does is Zilla charges at Godzilla. Godzilla just whacks him with his tail into the Sydney Opera House and then blasts him to death.
Sounds pretty effective.
And what was that epic line you wanted to base the event on?
That's not there was no epic line. Well, I feel if I tell it, I feel if I tell the well, actually, I can't tell the epic line. It's like, listen, kid, there are two things about out the earth, because like in the movie, all the monsters are being controlled by aliens. So, what human leader contacts alien leader and says, "Listen, kid, there are two things about the earth you don't know. One is me, and the other is Godzilla."
Or to put it another way, we have an army. We have a Hulk.
We have a Maeve.
Yeah, we don't want to say too much because it's actually quite an incredible payoff. But yeah.
Let's just. It's gonna be. Is that gonna come out in like the next Adobe Kroger book?
Yes, the second novel will have a reveal that will be the setup for this event.
Now, Mr. Marvel in the chat says, "Find the Mythoverse time, baby. Adobe is Bay." That's awesome.
Yes, Adobe is Bay. Absolutely.
Of course, he would say that.
What am I gonna do? Put down my own lady? No way.
I'm not saying you should.
She'd feed me my own ass if I said anything else.
Now, who's more of a hard ass, Althea or Adobe?
That's Adobe, no question.
Yeah, Adobe is the hard ass. Althea has not had an easy life by any stretch of the imagination, but she's got a much more tempered, even personality, and I think she's gotten a little bit further along in coping with all the issues that she's had to deal with, primarily because of the help of her familiar. Adobe had no such help. Her familiar, if I'm not mistaken, Matt, is kind of a father figure to her, correct? Matt, are you there?
I think he dropped out of the call.
Again, I think he's at. Let me check Slack, see if he's there. It'd be better if Matt said it, but I do know for. It'd be better if Matt said it. I don't want
to just let him say. We don't want to spoil or tread on his territory.
Yeah.
But we talked a little bit in the past about how you guys kind of touch on different parts of mythology and whatnot.
There he is.
Do you guys? How do you guys view each of your stories and how they fit into the Mythoverse shared universe?
Well, from my point of view, Adobe's part of the universe kind of sets up the major antagonist faction of the world. The Order of the Carolingian Cross, the Order of Holy Knight she belongs to, initially was formed as a counterattack against evil, chaotic, magical forces, but over time has grown to dominate the entire world, for better or for worse. In present day, it's mostly for worse. They've strayed away from their current mission, which was to defend humanity from evil, and they've come to sort of preemptively attack what they see to be evil. And they hold the world under a very strict regimen of control. And that is a serious point of contention to the paranormal and practitioners of magic that do not happen to be beholden to the order. So in that way, it's like Adobe's part of the world is kind of the antagonist.
I always kind of liken the Paladins to basically the Inquisition from Warhammer.
Right. They had good intentions. Magic is, like Brett has said in the past, it's like fire. It's useful if you can control it, but it's very deadly if you can't. So their intentions were initially, solid and forthright. But as of right now, it's kind of gotten a little bit out of hand. So,
Interesting.
Seems to have taken things a little too close to their head, so to speak.
Well, the thing is, the paladins are basically a hammer. And you know the old saying, when you've got a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
That doesn't seem too right.
Well, it's worked. It's worked for about 1,200 years, and very few have been able to dislodge them. At least,
I was just gonna say. They also say that. Don't they also say, what is it? The nail that sticks up the most gets hammered down.
Yeah. So the easiest way to avoid tangling with them is to avoid attracting their attention, which is something I believe Matt can explain much better. Is something that the mythics have had to learn to do out of necessity.
Oh yeah. If you get caught by the paladins, you either get pressed into their service or worse.
Yeah, most often worse. Especially even after you're pressed into their service, if you step out of line, it's probably better that you were just killed.
So in other words, it is basically the Inquisition out of Warhammer.
Kinda, sorta, but only on one planet.
Yeah, and also, okay. Well, I don't know. I want to say the Inquisition doesn't run the Imperium, but I've seen people who make the argument that they really do. Because out of the entire organizational structure of the Imperium, they're completely outside the normal command structure. They only answer to the Emperor, and unfortunately, he's a half-dead skeleton stuck on the Golden Throne.
Wait, what are we talking about?
But he has a text-to-speech device now.
Are we still talking about the Mythoverse?
No.
I am so confused.
Warhammer 40K.
Sorry,
I thought we might have drifted to Warhammer somehow. Yeah.
I want Leandro to do Adobe in a cosplay pinup as an Imperial Inquisitor.
I'm sure he'd love to do that.
Alias. They are the
All right, so just as awesome as this is, I just want to make sure we don't get too off track here. So,
fair enough.
So if that's where Adobe fits into it, so I don't know, Matt, Brett, do you want to say where your branches fit into it?
Matt had the floor before I decided to before I started geeking out again.
Well, that's why we're all here. We're all geeks who are doing something that we want to do.
Yeah, we've had a long week. I don't know about you, but I've got a big goblet of Sutter Home next to me in a goblet with like Celtic knots all over the stem. I'm happy. Let's talk about shit like this.
I have an empty bottle of
sorry, empty bottle of what now? Uh-oh.
Oh, great.
Empty bottle of nothing. He's drinking so much he's disappeared into his bottle. My God.
I'm gonna hazard a guess, and his computer went out on him again.
Well, if you'd like to go and tell us about your part of the Mythoverse, that'd be great.
Okay, well, basically, Althea's storyline deals with the Mythic Order, which their ultimate goal is a balance between the two worlds, the supernatural and our world. Complicating things, of course, would be the Order from Dan's universe, Dan's story, which makes things interesting in that they don't rely on magic or fighting. More of they rely on figuring out clever ways of dealing with the creatures, such as using any kind of weakness from folklore, such as, say, they're facing off against a spriggan. They have to turn their clothes inside out to ward them off. Or as people have seen in the 5-page preview, pixies love shiny objects, and you have to bribe them to go away.
I love that so much. That is so great because we have Adobe here who just hacks things to bloody messes, and then Althea is just, hey, I'm not going to actually harm them. I'm just going to like give them what they want, and then they'll just go away. That's fantastic.
Yep. I mean,
Shows their different approaches. A little bit.
yeah, it can't be
Yeah,
all.
you have to teach each other something or two.
Hmm.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot to learn from one another. Probably Adobe more so. But so Matt, just out of curiosity, what did obviously I based Adobe Kroger on Emperor Charlemagne's 12 Peers. So what gave you the inspiration to create the mythics? Like what were they based on?
They're based on the cunning folk from European lore, where they're often considered to be white witches against the black witches, which kind of sounds racist to certain people, but it's not the color of skin, people. It's because of the philosophies. But the cunning folk believed that magic was more of a tool to be wielded rather than some kind of religious experience. Something off that's been given to them by their by pagan god. Instead, they use it to help their communities. Sometimes they'll take on roles of as witch hunters. And interestingly enough, the only ones who were witch hunters were the female cunning folk, while the male cunning folk would be more of the folklorists, the ones who told the tales of the past.
In that
So-
sense, then, are they a matriarchal society? Would you say?
I don't think there's so much of a society as is a job. And that's what allowed them to survive the witch hunts. Their communities deemed them to be useful. And interestingly enough, the cunning folk actually converted to Christianity during that time and implemented aspects of the religion into their spells.
Kind of adapting into the modern society a bit.
Yep. Until it just pretty much died out as modern society came about. But in this case, they still survived as mythics because this order had been around for so long. They've had different names, and they're based all around the world. So there's going to be different names for them in their cultures. Which I think.
So,
Go on.
no, I was just gonna say. So, do you have? Can you give us a few examples of that by any chance?
Well, I'd have to say that there's some cultures where I have to make it up as I go along because some of them take on the same points as witches, where it's all about the extension of a god or a goddess. But instead, but I do plan on introducing certain cultures, such as basically there's this one branch of the Vietnamese which has been pretty much a group of outcasts because they where they live, I guess. And so they've had to deal with basically the same kind of prejudice that, say, the Old West had against the Irish.
Oh wow, that's pretty bad.
Yep. So, I do have a character who's going to show up later on in the series as a friend of Althea's. So, I don't think I want to give up too much information just yet.
Got to play close to the chest a bit on that one.
Yep.
Now,
Well,
Brett, are we? Do we finally have you back on the stream? Can you guys hear him?
I think he's muted.
Oh no!
he-
Now we got Brett clones.
Two Bretts
This-
are better than one.
Oh yeah.
It seems like
Well, we already have.
Maybe.
Well,
As
technically our
long as
team
they,
has.
as long as we can hear them.
I was gonna say technically our team has 2 Bretts.
That's
Is
true. That's
oh,
true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Brett Smith, the industry veteran, has provided the colors for the cover, and I would absolutely love to have him color the interiors, but that's not necessarily in the budget at the moment. We'll see how it goes. But I think Leandro's art looks great in black and white, so either way, it's great. But I won't lie, I would love to see him color the interiors too.
Now I'm pulling up the actual piece that you did right now. So this one here, this is the piece that you're referring to.
Yes, that cover is the most breathtaking piece of art I've seen all year. Not just because I'm biased, but because it's damn good. I mean, and what was very important to me is that the cover portray an event that actually takes place in the issue, which this does, and it shows.
Yeah.
It shows Adobe being heroic, defending an innocent, and just saying, "I got this. I'm a badass. I'm ready to kick some ass." I think it's a great composition. We went through like 3 different compositions where we settled in on this one, and I just basically thought this best exemplified the tone I was going for. Like paladins are a defense against danger; they defend the weak, and Adobe Kroger is trying to do that very thing. So
Nice. Yeah, the colors came out really, really nice. That was
Yeah.
very good. Very cool that you were able to work with them on that.
yeah,
For a
yeah,
guy who's been working as long in the industry as Brett has, I mean, you would expect that to look good.
yeah. You
Now-
see, Brett's like the kind of guy who's like, "Hey, can you color this cover for me?" And he say, "Yeah, I'll get to it today." You know, and he'll be done, and that's what you get from him. You know,
He finished that in a day.
I don't know if he finished it in a day, but you know, I definitely,
He was pretty fast on it.
yeah, he more than
Nice.
likely was able to get to this pretty quickly.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean that's a professional for you right there.
Yeah, he's very good, and if all goes well, I'm going to see if he's up for coloring that pinup with the dragon in it. Too.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be really cool.
That would
yeah.
look awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, it would. Now we also have a couple other covers here to check out. This one's Mythics, and this one's done by Beth Varney. Is that correct?
Yep.
Look at that
Nice.
though. She is so good. Look
Yeah,
at that lighting.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
really, really. I mean, and you always talk about how she's improved since when she first began it. So it's really cool to see how she's done so much stuff for this comic.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make it a point to add in with the comic extra pages to show how her style has evolved from
Right.
back then to now.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting to see. And I think this her art style is perfect for the mythic story that you're trying to tell.
Yeah, in fact, back when I didn't think about the implications that this is like Hellblazer, she already thought of it.
Now, do you think Althea and John Constantine would be able to get along at all?
No, because Althea's polite. She's not enough.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
John doesn't really have a look of decency or common manners, I suppose.
No, they'll definitely get into an argument or two or a fight.
That's funny. But no, that's it's cool to see this cover too as well. And then we finally have our final cover. Oh, that's not a cover. Other way. Changeling and Urban Fairy Tale. And this one is by Ginger Foxy and Victor Campan, I believe. Is that right, Brett? We have Brett with us.
Apparently not. He just vanished.
Well, we can. I think we can speak for Brett when we say that. I mean, this cover just turned out amazing.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't want to. Oh, there he is. I'll shut up now.
Are you there? Are you with us, Brett?
It's really weird because his computer was behaving all of yesterday with the hours of streaming that we did.
Huh? Is he trying to back out and just try jump back in? Because he might just have to restart that to get it to work.
Yeah, it's
Oh, Playlex says his hard drive is acting up again. Is that
Yeah.
true? You think?
yeah.
Oh crap! Technical difficulties. It sounds like he's been visited by some fey changelings. Maybe they're like trying to abduct him into their world. You know.
I think
Look,
it's more like he's been attacked by gremlins.
there you go. Don't feed them after midnight. That's the worst thing you could possibly do.
I never understood that. I never understood that rule because when does that rule stop taking effect? Like when the sun comes? They never made that clear.
That's a good point. When you start feeding them again, it doesn't really make any sense. Every moment is after midnight at some point.
Yeah, I would ask for clarification on that rule before I took the Mogwai into my house.
Definitely. Oh man.
Yeah, so Brett's doing a hard reset. So
Now there's there's some fun little Easter eggs on this cover. I believe isn't that Nerd Wonder back there in the corner?
yep.
That it is.
Is there any other fun little Easter eggs on here?
I know that there are, but Brett would have to speak to them.
He probably knows them the best, huh?
Yeah, but while Brett's getting back in on the topic of Easter eggs, I know that we are going to be inserting a number of Easter eggs into our books. I know that there are at least 2 in Adobe Kroger issue 1 that won't be very subtle at all. Like anyone that's read any manga or has been around the Twitter community that we roll in over the last couple of years will be able to spot the references pretty easily.
Are the references all round, like homages and influences, or is it just going to particularly stick within the Mythoverse?
In the case of the first issue, they're going to be like references to other works that I enjoy, or other memes that have spread over the course of the last couple of years. And I do know that in later issues, Adobe's going to be wearing a baseball cap that will make a reference to someone I greatly admire on Twitter. So,
interesting.
We'll just have to keep an eye out then.
Yeah, I have some theories already running around. So the campaign is live now. You're starting to get your first backers in. What would you want to tell some people who are kind of either on the fence or haven't really heard much about your core stories? What would you tell them why they should back your campaign?
Well, easy. Look at the art for one thing. I mean, right there on the first page of the campaign, we have beautiful artwork by Leandro and Luigi, and that's only the superficial quality of it, though. What's really going to sell in people that would be on the fences to backing this campaign is that you're going to get some very solid storytelling, very strong characterization. You're going to love these characters. You're going to want to visit their world again and again. And there's so much going on. It's rich. It's full of action and excitement. And there's really a lot to like. Whatever genre you happen to enjoy. We have a young adult manga. We've got a more of a low-key mystery story. We've got full-out high-octane balls-to-the-wall action with blood splattered on walls and balls splattered on walls along with it. So there's and everyone.
It looks funny to like for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got the full range. We've got the full range. Like, I'd be perfectly comfortable showing Changeling to my 8-year-old, and she would love it. I mean, she already recognizes Maeve on sight because she's seen her so often. She says, "Oh, look, it's Changeling," and that kind of thing. So kids are gonna love Maeve. I really do think awesome. There's a lot to like in Changeling, even if you don't happen to be a kid. I mean,
I totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's gonna have what I like to call parent service in it. Like, you take your kid to see a movie and there's like a little nod that the parents will get and the kids won't. And the kids will get it when they're older, but there's stuff in there for adults to enjoy as well as children. And then Adobe Kroger, well, obviously you've got Leandro's artwork, and you've got a protagonist that has a lot going on in her brain that's going to have serious consequences to the action and to the decisions that she makes. And you're going to be right there with her when she's in danger. So I really think that that's another good selling point. And Althea is just full of tricks, and she's got a toolbox full of things that she can utilize to solve her problems, a lot like a Sherlock Holmes would. Not necessarily like as borderline autistic as that, but she solves her problems by drawing upon her encyclopedic knowledge of the creatures that she's facing, of her experience and her creativity and her ability to improvise. So there's a lot of that. And she's often facing foes that are much stronger than her. That was one thing I really loved about, for example, the early Spider-Man stories, is that his foes were often more powerful than he was, and he couldn't just beat them by beating them up. He had to come up with creative ways to overcome their weaknesses, and that's a lot of what Althea does. So I guess in summation, I mean, there's a little bit of everything for fans of all kinds of stories, whatever genre there are, whether you like the manga aesthetic, whether you like the more like stark black and white realistic aesthetic, or if you just like a kind of like the area in between with mythics. Bethy's artwork is extremely expressive, and Althea is a very intriguing character, and you're going to want to follow her and find out what she does.
Nice. Yeah, those are a lot of really good reasons I think people want to back those books. Now, why don't we? I was going to say, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the campaign, and we'll kind of go through the tiers and whatnot.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen with this.
I think it's gonna be interesting to see how much will be raised with this through this stream alone.
Yeah, I would love to help get you guys started.
Yep. Well, just so you know, I mean, we're in this for the long haul. We're going to be working our tails off to get this funded. We do have something of an ambitious goal for a first campaign, but there are 3 different books, and there are 3 different teams. So we do have a lot of value to offer for what we're asking, and we're not really asking all that much for 3 books. And if you look at
value, really, honestly,
yeah, you get a lot of value for what you contribute to the campaign. So okay, so you got the campaign up. So right here, right from the get-go, you see we have Luigi's pinup. He is the penciler for Rags, the runaway indie smash hit, available from Antarctic Press. And I picked that image for the campaign header because I think it just really shows each of the characters in their element, and you get a good idea of what the characters actually are and who they are as people. So if you were to scroll down a little bit.
Sure. I just was going to say, Brett, I think I finally heard you coming through.
Brett, are you?
I thought I did.
Are you dead? Are you dead, man?
Are you there, man? Get a hold of yourself.
Is your computer dead?
I heard him. I swear to God, I heard him.
Every time he tries to actually say something, it just crashes.
Hey, Brett, if you can hear this, try using your phone.
Yeah, we can send you the mobile link if you'd like to just go ahead and try your phone. It's a good option. But yeah, I'll go ahead and scroll down for you. Yeah, see what we got here.
Okay, sweet. So if we want to go down to the first tier, it's a pledge $1 or more tier. That's basically a tip jar. If someone doesn't have a lot of spare cash lying around, but they want to show us that they want us to succeed regardless, they can do that, and I will be drawing a chibi-fied image of all 3 ladies, thanking them by name and emailing that to the person. So they will have a custom miniature chibi pinup from me, thanking them for helping us bring this to life. Okay.
Nice.
So, all right. And if you go down to the next tier, if you pledge $5 or more, then guess what? You already get
Right.
all 3 books in digital download form.
So this was the first one here that you mentioned. Is that right? And then this one,
the pledge $1 or more, the Chibified thank you. Yes, that tier. If you just all you have to spare is $1, but you want to show us that you want to support us, you can do that, and I will, like I said, send you an email with the ladies thanking you by name.
nice. And then we'll go down to the next one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you want to pledge $5 or more, then you get a digital download of all 3 books. That's all 3 books, $5 digital download. So that's a great value. You're going to get all the cover art, all the interior art, everything sent to you for $5. Okay, then if you go down past the $5 tier, we have 3 separate $8 tiers. Now, the reason we have 3 separate $8 tiers is we want to be able to give the readers a choice. If they have a preference for the aesthetic or story of, say, Changeling, then they can donate at the first $8 tier called Choose Your Destiny Fae. Now, what that means is you get all 3 downloadable digital copies, but you also get a print copy of Changeling. If you go down to the next tier, the Choose Your Destiny Mythic tier, that's the same thing, only you get a print copy of Mythics. If you go down to the next tier, Choose Your Destiny Paladin, same thing, only you get a print copy of Adobe Kroger, along with all the digital downloads. Now, in each of these tiers, you will also get a digital download of the theme that corresponds to the tier. Now, there is this incredibly talented individual named Zalin Talis, who composed theme songs for all 3 books, as well as for the Mythoverse as a whole. And if you pledge at each of these $8 tiers, you will get that particular book's theme song from him as an MP3 download.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, an MP3. Awesome. Yep. Okay, so moving on down to the $15 tier, Choose Your Destiny United. Now, what this means is you get all the digital downloads, and you get all 3 print copies, and you get all 4 musical themes. That's the Changeling theme, the Mythics theme, the Adobe Kroger theme, and the Mythoverse theme, all in MP3 digital downloads. So you get the digital downloads there, the print books, and the music for $15. And there's only one more tier after that at the moment, and that's the $30 tier, the Mythical Union tier. Now, that is essentially the same as the $15 tier with 2 differences. Number one, you get a poster printout of the Luigi artwork that you see at the top of the campaign. That's the 3 girls hanging out top of a building in a sunset. Adobe's got that shit-eating grin on her face, and Maeve's got that sidelong glance, and Althea looks like she's contemplating how she got into this mess. Okay. Then, in addition to that, you get the all 3 books with the variant cover that was designed by Antonella, and there's more that we want to say about her in a little bit after we get done talking about the campaign. But if you scroll down a little bit below all the tiers, and you go down below all the videos and the music and the artwork, you'll see down there at the bottom we have a triptych variant cover by At Moonlight Shadow, and you'll see the 3 Mythoverse ladies. Yeah, that one. Okay, so what we have here is that is a triptych cover. Each one of those little panels will be a cover to one of the number 1s that you get for pledging at the $30 tier, and they form a single image, much like a triptych would in a museum. Now, what makes this so amazing is that each one of these panels is done in a style that's commensurate with each character's mythology that they're based on. So we have on the left, we have Althea, and she is made to look like a wood carving that you might see out of the pagan era. There's been a number of wood carvings of the cunning folk that were done in this style. So that was why she looks like she does. And then if you look at Maeve, there's some exquisite Celtic knotwork. If you zoom in, it's very detailed. Like she did an incredible job replicating those patterns. And then if you go over to Adobe on the right, she was made to look like those primitive medieval pre-Renaissance tapestries where the knights look like they're paper dolls and the color is very flat. And they usually had rosy cheeks for some reason. But yeah, so what you have there is a wonderful 3-part cover. Each of the comics will have one of these as their cover, and they will fit together to form this one image. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful image. And
Points if anyone, I was gonna say points if anyone knows what that idea was inspired by.
Yeah, like does anyone?
That and Dan are not allowed to say because, of course, they'll know.
Well, of course. Yeah, if anyone can tell us what gave us that idea, you know.
Are you trying to quiz us right now?
Well, if you're a comic fan, you should be able to spot the inspiration easy.
I'm assuming it has something to do that with that tree, maybe.
Not the tree, just the idea, just the whole idea of like several covers together forming an image.
Oh, I know. Is it that Spider-Man issue or something?
X-Men first issue.
X-Men, that's it. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, the Jim Lee X-Men cover variants. Yeah, there were
selling comic of all time.
Yeah. But we failed because they had 4 images and we only have 3. Yeah, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We'll get by with the 3. So yeah, so that's that is the $30 tier. You get that
cool.
that variant cover, and right below it is another copy of the Luigi's image that you'll get along with that.
Nice.
And that is really it for the moment. We really wanted to keep this campaign simple. Because it's all about the books. It's all about, the artwork. It's all about paying our teams. And if we make any extra money, well, we'll see what happens. But our goal right now is just to get these books done and get them out and to keep it as simple as possible.
I think we did discuss that if we did make like more on the goal, it just go to funding like the next issue and so on.
Right.
Like, that's as far ahead as we thought, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and that fits very nicely in line with our goals, because what we're doing here is we're launching a brand, we're launching a universe, and the best thing that we could do for our readers if we make any extra money is just give them more stories, rather than say, hey, let's make this comic glossier or make this cover nicer, whatever you want to do. Let's just pay our teams to make more stories and get more comics out. Yeah.
Yeah, it really seems like he's got a lot of good tiers going.
Yep. We wanted to keep it lean and mean and straightforward. Just about the books, folks. Just about the books, and a little bit of extra artwork in there if you want to support us a little bit extra. And like I said, the first 20 backers at the $30 level will get a free copy of the Adobe Kroger Knight Errant audiobook.
Nice, yeah, and even in the chat, Neostar Production says these perks are all sounding pretty promising. So it does sound like you guys got it sounds like you guys got a good rounding, amount, like a good amount for everyone. Like, I think that's a really great thing. So.
Thank you. I certainly hope so. I really think everyone's going to love it.
Having it go on for the campaign?
Well, it's a 30-day campaign. So we launched it like at 9:00. So May 25th, around the same time. If we don't have the money, then we don't get it, and we just release one back and try again later. But we honestly think we will. We think we have a good product here. We think we have every reasonable chance to make this goal.
Nice, yeah. And you had such cool, unique products that I think there's they stand together so strongly. I think, like you said, I think people will really find something that they're going to enjoy in each and every one of the titles that you guys are bringing out.
Absolutely. And I think that's what one of the things that made us realize that these tastes go well together. They complement each other very well. You know, you can find a little something in every story to like.
Although I would
No,
definitely say though I would put it this way, I would not give Adobe Kroger or Mythics to kids though.
No, don't even think about it. Seriously, there's my 8-year-old. She likes to play that she's a badass, but I let her have a look at One Piece, like the first volume, and she got like I think 3 pages into the part where Luffy stabs himself in the face to show how tough he is to the pirates, and she was miserable for the whole afternoon. So no, don't. I would not show Adobe Kroger to her, at least until she's a little bit older.
Now, would you say it's okay to show it to someone maybe say Maeve's age?
Oh yeah, sure. Once you're a teenager, this stuff's fine. I mean, they've probably seen worse by then. I know by the time I was 14, I'd already seen several Friday the 13th movies, so I was fine with. I was fine with it.
That's funny. Now, Brett, we are happy to say that you are back with us now.
Yeah, because I didn't get to talk about Changeling all that much.
I know. Yeah, we were just getting into talking about it when you were dropped out. So you were actually just getting into talking about your part of the Mythoverse, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that ticked me off because of all the days my PC's HDD picked to act up. It had to be now.
Yeah, seriously, that's usually the case, isn't it?
That thing needs to be replaced like yesterday.
That's a sign. Yeah, that's the final straw. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you were you were trying to get into earlier with what your part of the Mythoverse is all about?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, so while Mythics and Adobe Kroger go for a more adult audience, Changeling is aimed at a young adult crowd, and that's by design. Like that was like from the beginning, that was my intention. And I wanted them. And I think of when I pitched it about a year ago on Twitter. And at that time, I don't think I had seen too many other people making comics in our corner of the indie sphere that were going for a younger audience, and I felt like that was a majorly missed opportunity. If you're trying to inject some life into the comics industry, you gotta get fans while they're young, because there's kind of. I mean, the thing about comics is there's not really a gene for whether or not you like them. You either do or you don't, and you find out, and you kind of find out if you like them when you're really young. So, wanted
That's
to
pretty
make
smart. Yeah, because a lot of times there's comics out there, but they're not necessarily geared towards the younger audience in many ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
that's awesome. Yeah,
I can say it worked for me. I mean, it was all ages comics that got me into the medium. It was Peanuts and Archie and Richie Rich, and
really,
like this goes back to when I was 4 or 5 years old. You know, I could barely read them, but I understood what was going on.
Right, because it had the images, and you could connect even with that before you could even really the words.
Exactly. So yeah, you get, like Brett said, you got to get them while they're young, and you'll have lifelong fans.
Yeah,
and something else that I think is so cool. We've kind of touched on this in a few other streams. Is that your character Maeve is connected with so many people, and we've seen so many pieces of fan art, and people really just enjoying the character so much. And what has that been like for you?
I did not think that I did not think that I'd have a character that would take off like she did.
Really?
Like I'm kind of used to just being ignored by the general population. Like I was a ghost mostly through high school and school. Some of it was some of it was because of myself, because of my personality. But yeah, I'm just not kind of used to being popular like at all. And like this is a new field. This is like new territory for me. I'm not used to having people actually have a character that I'm not used to having this level of popularity like at all. Like I guess that's all I can say. Like I don't. It's all very new to me, and I'm just trying not to let it go to my head.
Nice. Well, yeah, I think all you guys' characters have really connected with people, and it's cool to see that. And so I wonder how Maeve would take it. You know, get all that. You probably feel the same way, much as Maeve. You know.
I think she kind of doesn't. Let me put it this way: as much as she kind of hates being lonely, she also kind of does. She also kind of doesn't want to be noticed either. Like,
would you say she's a shrinking violet?
She's a shy kid, like, and I don't think she's got. I don't know. I mean, like you've probably all known that kid who just doesn't like being lonely, but at the same time doesn't like being around people. Like,
Been there.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Probably
I think
many people can relate to that on all levels. You know, even if it's not all. You know, even if it's just some of the time. You know.
I think it's safe to say yes. That's a very relatable condition.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Probably
kind of
the
why
most.
she caught on, just because like I think most of it has to actually, I would say like even 90% of it has to do with the way, with just like how good how good Victor and Ginger's art is at communicating characterization. Like you can, like just from the pages you guys have seen, like you can tell like Victor does not slack when it comes to expressions.
No way, not at all.
Yeah, his character models are very expressive. Like you know exactly what what they're saying. Like their thoughts are basically written on their faces. So it's like and I think people can just tell just from like the stuff I've shown of her. And like they can just like there's just a lot about her that just feels very relatable. I mean, like I think one of the oddest compliments I got from about Maeve, I think, and it was from Antonella, was that she described her as like cute and charismatic.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
I understand the cute part. I get. I don't know. Charismatic made my eyebrow raise.
Well, I think of the scene with the kitty cat.
Oh,
You know.
oh yeah, where she's cuddling the cat. Yeah, you see, Maeve is an absolutely adorable young anime girl who loves cats. I mean, I think you'd have to be a sociopath to not find her appealing. That's all I have to say.
I think it was funny how at the very beginning we're talking about how Brett accidentally made a waifu character.
Oh my god. He's right.
Yeah. You don't want to make a waifu out of a 14-year-old, but you did it.
It's just like I never set out to do that, but it happened anyway. This was never something I wanted to do with her, but it's just like, but people like it, like her that much, I guess. And it's like you can't control what the internet does.
Well, the anime style lends itself beautifully to that kind of thing because the large eyes are neotenous. You know, they look like kids, and their kids are adorable. That's why we don't kill them, right? And
we don't kill them.
Yeah, because they're cute. That's why babies have giant eyes and adorable little faces, and because they, you know, that's how they survive.
That's Adobe.
Baby Maeve is pretty freaking adorable.
Speaking of Baby Maeve, we do have another thing that we'd like to announce, if you guys are ready. We do actually have another little piece of content that we are going to be offering up as part of this universe, free of charge, oddly enough. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat. And I would like to share this with everybody. And you've seen it here first, folks. You've seen it here first.
Yeah. Exclusive, guys. I got some exclusive.
All right. So I just dropped the link in the chat there. And it is What this is mythoversecomics.com. Okay, this is going to be our new community platform that we've built to give everyone a chance to in a location to centrally gather and talk about what they like about the Mythoverse. And on top of that, we will be offering a weekly webcomic that will be published every Wednesday. And the very first comic is on the site right now.
Oh, nice.
And
Very
you've probably seen previews of it already with the little chibi Adobe and Baby Maeve and Chibi Althea. But this is going to be part of a new weekly feature that we will be putting up in conjunction with the work we're doing with the Mythoverse proper.
That's awesome, guys.
Yes. So, guys, check that out. If you were to go to the site, you will see across the navigation there, if you click latest comic, you will see the very first episode of the Mythoverse webcomic. And the best way to describe it is it's like Lego Mythoverse. If you're a parent, you know exactly what I mean by that. What Lego loves to do is they take existing properties and puts them in gives them absurd characterizations, puts them in absurd situations, but the characters themselves don't realize that they're a satire. So they take themselves seriously. And that's kind of the tone we're going for here. It's kind of like a silly version of Adobe Maeve and Althea.
I think
That's awesome.
the funniest part about it is that in the webcomic, Adobe and Althea's roles are kind of reversed. You can kind of see in one of the panels it spells out that Adobe is the responsible one with a stable career and Althea is the shiftless one waiting in between jobs, waiting on her writing career to take off. To this day, it still hasn't.
Yeah, and if you look at that comic, I mean, you get a nice little precursor of the relationship between Baby Maeve and Adobe.
Well, I was thinking not just that though. It's just also that, like I said, even though their roles are kind of reversed, because I would say in the Mythoverse proper, Althea is the responsible one, whereas Adobe, you would not trust her to babysit your kids.
No, not at all. And I think that's sort of reflected here. I mean, Althea wants to play a house, and Adobe's like, "Are you insane?" And yeah, so there's we have several comics already produced and written, and like I said, stop by this site every Wednesday for an update. And
that's exciting.
Yep. And if you go to on the nav menu, we have links to all the theme songs. If you click music, you'll see all the theme songs that Alan Tallis wrote. And if you click video, you'll see all of the trailers for. I got to actually put Mythics up there. I haven't updated that page. I just realized that now. But yeah, you'll see all of our trailers and the forums. If you want to go there and register and
Nice.
hang out and talk about the projects or your own projects or just shoot the breeze, there you go. And we will also have a Discord channel open for backers of the project exclusively for them so that they can touch base with us and we'll be able to show them how the project is progressing.
Because we promise 100% transparency on this. Everyone, if you're in the Discord, you are there. We are gonna allocate a special channel on the Discord to keep track of the receipts, and the backers are going to see where every cent goes.
Oh yeah. If you could go back to the campaign page.
Sure.
Yeah. To that point, Brett raised a very good point, and we hadn't gotten to this point yet. But once you get back to the page, I will talk about it. But if you were to visit the campaign page, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, beneath all the mind-bogglingly awesome artwork that our hardworking artists have put out, you will see the risks and challenges section. Now, the risks and challenges section is a bit more verbose than most campaigns I've seen, and that's because I had some very important things to say. Between the three of us, we've backed dozens of books. Like I think I'm up to 30 right now. Since 2017, early 2017, I've backed like 30 different comic projects from all across the spectrum. So I know very well what it is like to be a supporter of a crowdfunded comic campaign, as does Brett and Matt.
Yep.
So we know what's involved as a backer. There's a great deal of trust that's very important, and we haven't earned that yet. This is our first campaign. Like you have no reason to believe that we are any more reliable than any other Joe on the street. And we appreciate that. And we understand that when you are pledging your hard-earned money to us, you are creating a bond of trust with us. And since we've been on the other side of that transaction so often, we understand how sacred that trust is. So I try to make it very clear that we understand all those failings, and we're going to do our very best to alleviate them. And to Brett's point about transparency, we are going to be as transparent as we possibly can. You're going to hear about every little bit of progress we make. You're going to hear about every last challenge we make. If there are any delays, you're going to hear about it right away. And we are going to be completely upfront with you. Everyone that spends money on our products, we understand what that entails. So we want to earn your trust. We have to do that because we have not yet. So we hope that by the end of this campaign, we will have done so.
I think that's really a great thing to do, actually, because not most people who put things out on the internet, whether it be video, comic, or otherwise, they don't really share what goes into production, and especially with crowdfunding campaigns, people don't often share what goes into production of these projects. And so I think it's really useful, not only from a backer perspective, just to build that trust, but also to see what it actually takes to make these books come to life.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm glad you mentioned that, because to that point, I don't know why more creators don't do that. I love seeing in progress work. I love seeing behind the scenes stuff. I love seeing rough sketches. I love seeing the evolution of the project. And every time I share a rough sketch on our Instagram account, so I don't understand why people aren't more transparent about this sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, like, besides just showing them in progress stuff, like if there are issues with your campaign, just be upfront with your backers. They'll understand. Like, they appreciate the honesty. Like I've backed so many different projects, and there are times when the creator just ghosts for eight solid months, and I don't hear from him or her. I'm like, did they forget about us? Are they afraid of us? Like, why aren't they talking to us? If you have a problem, just say, hey, look, I made a mistake. I underestimated what I needed, and I'm gonna need a little bit of lenience from you guys as I try to get everything together. As long as you give regular updates, I think backers are more than willing to say, hey, we got you. I understand, there shit happens, but I really want you to succeed, so I got you. But if you just ghost them, then what are they supposed to think, Yeah.
Very true, yeah. Like, that reminds me of I believe it was a Kickstarter. I think I backed a while back for an indie anime project from kind of a small little startup studio in Japan. And they were selling Blu-rays for about $100 for, I think, a 20-minute anime episode. It's been about 3 years now, I think, and still no word on if we're ever going to get it. So
holy cow.
Yeah. So I really can appreciate. Yeah.
Well, let me say this right now. Like, if anything happens that would cause us to miss our deadline, you're going to hear about it immediately.
Nice.
Like if Leandro all of a sudden says, hey, I don't have time to do this right now, I need to go and focus on my day job, then I will immediately let the backers know that and set their expectations accordingly. Like, I'm a professional, this is my hobby right now, but I've been in the professional world for quite some time, and you need to set expectations. Like, if there are issues, just communicate them, for crying out loud. Don't be afraid of it. Customers, they want you to succeed, and they're willing to accept that there are going to be problems. Like, we live in an imperfect world, but don't treat your backers like they're a bunch of ravenous wolves that are going to snatch off your foot if you step out of line. Just communicate. That's my point.
I think people are a lot more accommodating than what is seen on Twitter.
Oh, Twitter is like, oh my God, it turns people into monsters, I swear. I don't know what it is about Twitter, man. I honestly don't.
It's when
Really?
no one goes to die, that's what.
Yeah. Silence. Okay.
That's how true it was.
Yeah, we can't argue. I guess.
Right?
Well,
We were listening to the mic bounce off the floor there.
I just saw someone tweet about how Twitter I had blocked him from himself.
That's
How does
brilliant.
that happen?
That's brilliant.
I don't know.
I want to block myself. How do I do that?
Yeah, I don't want to
I
see
don't
my
know. It
tweets.
seems like it looks like it was a bug from Twitter. It's kind of like how they force you to unfollow people, or people are forced to unfollow you. That site is full of bugs.
That's happened so many times. Like I remember when we went on a stream a couple months back with number one Marmaduke fan. He wanted to send me the link, but he said, "Hey, can you please follow me so I can DM you?" And I said, "I'm not following you. I've been following you for a year." So I have no idea what happened there. But yeah, I had to refollow someone that I had been following since like 2017.
Yeah,
Spork's in the house, guys.
Hey,
Hey,
Spork.
Spork.
Can't wait to see your book, my friend.
Fellow Wicked creator. Now, I wanted to bring up this image on Twitter. I'm going to share my screen again. I hadn't actually seen this one until just today, but it's a really fun piece. I really like it a lot. What can you guys tell us about this one here?
Oh, that.
That.
Sound a little embarrassed right there.
Taking selfies, huh?
Like you got caught with your pants down or something. Oh, yeah. Well, that, Brett, do you want to talk about it or should I?
I'll talk about it. Okay, so I was talking with Victor about what Leandra was planning on doing, and I told him, you know what, we ought to do something like this too. Like I kind of even talked with Matt about like Beth ought to do something like this too. And the thing is though, when I saw that Leandra was doing something that was more of an action scene, I kind of made the conscious decision we should probably go do something that's a little bit different.
Nice.
And I remember somebody saying that Maeve is a character that lends herself to really cute selfies. And then I went on to Instagram and looked up a good group selfie pic that I thought would fit.
Nice.
And I told Victor, okay, basically do the Mythoverse girls, but smells like this. And the more I thought about them, the more I look at it, the more I realized that was actually the right call, just because like something Dan noted that I don't think Matt and I picked up on until he pointed it out was that our covers are all thematically appropriate to their series. It's like, like Maeve's got everything shattered for her. Althea is a font of power, and Adobe's just a wall.
Right. That's.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Same's gone for these pinups. Like, you can definitely get that. You definitely feel like there's a more high octane action sort of vibe from Leandra's style, whereas Victor does something that's a little bit more cute. And I think also Matt just pointed out that what's really good about it is that, I mean, like a lot of people kind of know that Maeve is kind of a mopey and depressed kid a lot of the time, and it's nice to see her be happy.
Yeah, it is. It's fun when she has fun. Like that moment when she has the cat. That's another great moment. Of seeing her being a little bit happier for once. Which is, it's I love this one because it's it shows all three of them, and I think that the selfie thing actually does work really well as a fun picture from all three of them.
Yeah, I already love this, even though it's only a sketch so far.
I know, right?
Well, like
Yeah,
like Brett said, Victor's got a real knack for creating appealing expressions.
Totally, yeah, and expressions are so important, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I just saw that and I said, "Oh, look, that's fun." Then they're taking a selfie.
Yeah, the only thing that would make that more perfect is like fire in the background. Like there's destruction behind them, you know, and they stop to take a selfie because why not?
Of course, I think at that point, Althea's look would be, "What are you guys doing?"
There is a battle going on. Okay, fine. Real quick. Here we go.
Would Althea be
someone-
smiling at that point, or would you have to change her expression to annoyed?
At the annoyed.
it'd be like this one here, right where you see her. She looks pretty annoyed in this image on the screen. I could see her getting a little angry at that.
And I think the thing is that like I said is that in the Mythoverse proper, like Althea is at this point, she's the most mature one.
Althea is not Baby Maeve.
Do you expect any level of maturity from her?
I thought she was the most mature out of them.
Well, it's not Adobe. I mean,
Adobe is a teenager in an adult's body.
yeah, she has the emotional maturity of someone like 10 years younger than she is. But
How old is Adobe?
in the comic, she's 20.
Oh wow, so she's actually really young in the comic.
Yeah, she's on her first mission. And she's got a lot to learn. And she better learn it fast because she's getting a baptism by fire in issue 1, as you'll see.
I would not say she's got if she has the emotional maturity of a 10-year-old. That's a little bit much. I think I would say more like the emotional maturity of a 15-year-old, maybe.
Nah, I mean, I exaggerate for comedic effect. I mean, in some ways she's fine. In other ways, she's got a lot of growing to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. But yeah, like I said, because I think I even talked with Matt about this, that like even when she was younger, like Althea was kind of mature beyond her years.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're an adopted kid who gets told that she's been adopted at a younger age and has siblings who are the biological children of her parents. The parents, or adopted parents, can't help it, but they're more than likely going to go with their biological kids first.
What? Is this some Game of Thrones type thing here going on?
No,
Am I going to need a scorecard to keep track of this?
Oh God! Now you're getting Jon Snow vibes.
I also kind of noticed that all three of them sort of come from different classes in terms of, like let me put it this way: Adobe definitely grew up lower class, right?
Yeah. She was a military brat. Her parents had her very, very young, and they never had a lot of money. And they've always been living in less than optimal conditions.
Yeah. Maeve, she's definitely grown up middle class. I would not. Althea is about as close as you can get to growing up upper class without actually being it.
Yeah.
Like her parents made more money than Maeve's parents, but it's not like they were rolling in it.
Just enough to get her through private school, where she had her teenage rebellion.
Too bad Maeve couldn't go to private school. You're stuck in public school, kid.
Yeah, she doesn't get the cool uniforms that Adobe and Althea did.
Right, true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, is that image of them where they were attending school together? Is that right?
No.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that so we can show the chat.
Didn't we kind of
Yeah, that'd be
establish that
awesome.
would be impossible, considering that they were living in different states at the time?
Yeah.
Maybe it was what do you call football game or something, and they had to go to a rival school.
Althea's school was in Michigan. Adobe's is in Florida.
Yeah,
Hey, it could happen. You never know.
Yeah, Adobe went to a very strict reform school.
Wow, that sounds.
It was like one step removed from being a full-on military academy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, she had a choice: go to prison or go to the school. So, all right.
Wow. No trouble with you, huh?
Prison, not juvenile.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, you know what I mean. I dropped.
Well, I think it depends. Like there's certain. I mean, depends on. There are. I think depending on the state and how old the offender is, you can actually be tried as an adult.
Yeah, depends on like how bad a day the judge is having too. I went ahead and dropped the the link to that image in the chat if you want to show it.
Okay, I'll pull it up. Now I want to ask. Let's see. So, in this image here, there is. Oh, so do we know we have the comic for Adobe Kroger, and then we have the book series. So we kind of explore her later life and then her 20s. Do you think you'll ever kind of explore some of her earlier years? Back during those days.
Yes. In fact, there will be flashbacks to her younger life in the comic Dame Commander, and we'll see. And I'm doing my very best to tie in the critical moments to whatever happens to be happening in the present. So at the very beginning of issue 2, we'll see an extremely pivotal moment in her life that will seamlessly lead in thematically to the current situation. And I think I get goosebumps when I think of how Leandro is going to draw this. I cannot wait to see what he interprets this. Yeah, so we're going to see a lot of Dame Commander is going to involve how she got to where she was and how all of the trauma that she's faced as a younger person colors the choices that she makes, and the choices that she makes end up having disastrous consequences as a result of the fact that she has power now and she hasn't processed the traumas of her history yet. And that's one of the main themes that I'm trying to explore in Adobe Kroger Dame Commander.
Nice. That's awesome. I really like the idea of it and exploring her character because she does seem like she has a really rich kind of history and characterization.
Yeah, I think so. There's so much that I can explore. Like in the novel, she does dive into her past quite a bit, either by choice or involuntarily. And every time she does that, it usually ties into why she's making the current decision she's making. So I'm trying to say, hey, look, you got to be careful. Kids remember things, like something that an adult would forget about the next minute will stick with a kid for their whole life and could seriously ruin them. So you got to be careful when you deal with children.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, speaking of children, maybe is obviously a younger character. How do you approach writing your part of the Mythoverse when the other parts are a little bit more mature?
It's just, well, maybe it's I want to maybe it's kind of pulled from several different sources. One is my younger brother. One is my experience in high school. Another is my oldest and best friend, frankly, and as well as anime and manga I was into when I was Maeve's age.
What kind of? Can you give us an example of something one of those?
It was mostly Bleach and Fully Cooley to a lesser extent.
Nice.
Fully Cooley was an anime that kind of blew me away when I was young, but I didn't get it, and now I do.
Nice. Yeah, that I could really see that. Yeah, because it's a little bit more complex
It's very-
in a lot of ways.
I would not say complex so much as it's like it's one of those animes that just doesn't have a lot of fucks to give. Like it's just saying, hey, it's just like this is me, dude. Deal with it.
Did you see
It's
the?
always a strange concept.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Did you see?
the way I've heard fully described as it has the energy of a punk rock music video, which, given its soundtrack, that shouldn't surprise anybody.
True.
Did you get a chance to see the new ones that came out?
I did, and I mean, I didn't hate them, but but the feeling that it kind of left me with was, what am I watching that what am I getting out of these that I didn't get from the first series? Like, I just didn't feel like they gave me anything different or new.
That's too bad.
Yeah, like I said, they weren't bad. It's just like it just felt like I'd seen them already. That was my personal opinion, but like I said, it was like I said, Fully Cooley was something that became more apparent to me because like I said, when I was young, I got blown away by it, but I didn't get it at the time, and I do now. Definitely was Bleach definitely made a huge impact on me when I was young, and mostly just because at that time I'd sort of dropped Naruto at that point, and I did not feel like going into One Piece, and didn't feel like going back to Dragon Ball, and so this was kind of the only other thing that was kind of shonen that felt like it appealed to me, and I also kind of had a bit of a crush on Rukia at the time.
Hey man, who didn't? Right?
One of Matt's ex-girlfriends was a Rukia cosplayer, believe it or not.
Nice. Oh, I could believe it.
So she ended up being a disappointment.
So did you ever develop a fetish to have a girl whack you on the face with a guitar?
That's a Fully Cooley thing, isn't it? Or is that a Bleach thing?
That's really cool.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Getting whacked with a bass guitar was Fully Cooley. Rukia whacks people with their bad drawings.
True. She was very good at that, and her excellent drawings.
Which was sadly missed in the live action Bleach.
Aw, yeah, that's too bad. Live action's always tricky when it comes to anime.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I was just gonna. Scott in the chat says watching Bleach with my 4-year-old now.
Nice.
I'm surprised your 4-year-old can handle that. That's a tough 4-year-old right there.
Oh please, it's not that. Oh please, compared to say Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah,
it is still pretty tame compared to some of the other ones that Toonami has played on there.
You want to impress me?
Yeah.
Show your kid Fist of the North Star.
Oh God.
Oh man, I remember watching that when I was 8. Oh. Encore, when it first started, like showed some of the best anime when I was young. That's what really introduced me into it. Like I remember watching Ghost in the Shell, Fist of the North Star, like the movie version first, and then I watched the anime version later on. But there were just so many different types that I was just like, what the hell is this? And then soon afterwards being introduced to like Macross Plus and some more of that series, I just started going on binges, trying to watch whatever I could, and that's how I eventually found Toonami.
Sadly, Macross Plus is the only other Macross series that got out here.
Hey, Macross Plus is amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's just that
but there are some other ones that are like a lot better.
I mean, come on, Macross Plus is made by the same guy who made Cowboy Bebop. That's all the reason to see it.
It's actually the same creative team for Gundam 083 as well.
Mm-hmm. I think he even did a lot of the mech games that are out right now, or that did come out like during PlayStation 2 era.
Sojo Kawamori is pretty well known for some very famous robots that that a whole lot of people don't know, such as Optimus Prime.
Huh.
Yeah.
So What?
Sorry, I was gonna keep going.
All right. Well, he designed two famous robots, Optimus Prime and the Valkyrie. And
Now, we have some people in the chat saying, let's see, Shinobi and Raccoon says Macross rocks, and then Neostar Productions says Macross Robotech. I'm not.
Okay, but yeah, to bring it back to Changeling though, to bring it back to Changeling though, like I said, like there's some there. First of all, like I said, there's the anime that I was into when I was that age that made an impact on me. But there's like also like my experiences going through high school, my brother and my best friends. What's kind of taken from my brother is that when my brother was about 10 years old, he got diagnosed with Asperger's.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
let me put it this way: like Maeve got diagnosed at a young age with autism, quote unquote. I'm not gonna say whether she has it or if it's just the result of her being half fae, half human, and the two things not really mixing together.
So that'll be something we discover with her in the series.
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm never gonna really explain it like one way or the other. It's just like it's just gonna leave that up to reader interpretation.
Nice, that's interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, like a lot. One thing that especially I think came in from my brother was that when I was picking him up over from Spokane, when he was first gonna move back in with me. He's not living with me now. He moved back in with our dad out in Ohio. On the drive, like he was talking about like how having Asperger's just more times than not was kind of more baggage for him than actually helping him, because like things that would be obvious to you or me, they would go over his head. Like he just would not get them. Like just the best way I can say is my brother doesn't common sense doesn't come easy to him.
Right, and I imagine that makes it tough in social situations.
It does, and he says that he wishes that he did not have that. And in the first issue, Maeve has a line where she just basically flat out says, "I would give anything to be like the other kids around me, but for whatever reason, God decided that wasn't for me."
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome, and that's something that a lot of people have felt growing up, I think.
Yeah, and where my best friend is concerned, like my best friend, like she's half white and she's half First Nation Canadian. If you don't know what that is, that's basically Canada's version of being Native American.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but and she said like she just felt like an outcast growing up because she never felt like she really belonged in either spot. Although when she got older, she realized that home is being around other people who care about you.
Yeah,
yeah. She always felt like she was the black sheep growing up, is what I'm saying.
And then finding out about her Fae heritage, I'm sure that just makes her even more confused about who she is.
Yeah, like I said, like in fact, I think the big thing for Maeve is like up until this point, like she is just like I said, her life hasn't been fun. Like, I mean, she's kind of been ostracized. Kids don't want to talk. Kids have never really talked to her. So they never wanted to be around her. They just can't. Now, like very rarely did it ever get physical for her. I think like probably not at all. Like I don't think she got like physically picked on, but it's just more like because the dynamic with girls and boys is very different when it comes to bullying. Only like when boys pick on each other, it's more confrontational or physical. Girls, they just like the best way I can put it is like boys choose who they want to bully to dominate, whereas girls just dominate to girls bully to ostracize, and like that's mostly been what she's gone through. She's been sort of pushed away. Right,
and yet it seems like she's able to kind of find her own friends and her own way.
That's going to be the arc for the story. But like up until this point, like she's been isolated.
Oh really?
So
Okay.
The other kids don't want to be around her, and like then all of a sudden this bombshell gets dropped in her lap, and it explains everything, but it fixes nothing.
That's interesting. I think that's really brave of you to put that out there and to put that into your work like that. You know, I think that shows that you really care about your work, and I think people will be able to connect on that with so many levels.
Yeah, I think that is something I don't know how many comics actually deal with that. Like, I can't think of one. First issue of Spider-Man. Peter catches the guy who killed his uncle, and then all of a sudden he realizes his mistake. Everything is explained, but guess what? It hasn't fixed anything for Peter. He still has to live with the fact that he inadvertently is the reason his uncle is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, he catches the bad guy, but it fixes nothing. Like that is something that that's what made that one of the most powerful moments in comics. Like, how often does something get dropped in your lap which does put everything in perspective, but it doesn't do anything to fix your situation?
Back then, I think it was largely a bunch of superpowered characters who can do no wrong. And everything gets all wrapped up, all happy ending by the end of the issue.
Yeah, but
what do you mean? What do you mean exactly?
Yeah, but the only thing you can say for Peter is that he just walked away learning a lesson.
What made Marvel so great when Stan Lee was creating all these characters was that there are these things that never happened before in terms of superhero comics. You have a teenager who's the focus of the superhero. Back when teenagers were just the sidekick. Not only that, but you also have this teenager also have to deal with an ending that, yeah, he got the guy who killed his uncle, but he was the one who caused it to happen in the first place. So,
yeah, the difference is like DC were gods among us and they were aspirational, and Marvel it was like their heroes are us.
I like that about the Marvel, I guess. You know, I kind of like that aspect of the heroes are kind of like us.
Yeah, like I said, like that's just so. And I even think I even cited like Brian Michael Bendis' Ultimate Spider-Man as an influence too. I mean, that was a comic that made a huge impact on me when I was young. But that's just something that I think is going to be a very powerful moment in the first issue, because like I said, Maeve is going to have something dropped in her lap that explains why her life has been the way it has been, but it doesn't do anything to fix her situation at all.
Would you say it actually makes it worse?
Well, yeah, well, arguably, and it just drops with more questions. She's already been confused enough as is. Now she has even more questions. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's Shinobi Raccoon in the chat says, sadly, Marvel has forgotten what made people flock to them in the first place. But it seems like you guys really are kind of aren't really going that route, and you kind of really understand what makes your characters so great. I think you have a really good understanding of your characters.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, that's
yeah.
I really want, like, interestingly enough, when my narrator was reading the Adobe Kroger Knight Errant audiobook, by the end of it, she said, "I feel like Adobe's my best friend. I think I know her."
Oh, man.
And it's like, you know what? That's great. That's great. Then I've done my job.
Yep.
Neostar Production says, I don't think there are enough aspirational heroes around anymore. I hope to rectify that with my work in the future. That's a great point, Do you guys feel like you wanted to create any kind of aspirational, relatable part when you were set out to create your characters?
Absolutely. There's one thing I can't stand is that you can't be a hero without being deconstructed these days. You can't just do a simple heroic deed without winking at the camera and saying, "Hey, this is really ridiculous." Yeah, I want to make sure that our characters definitely are human beings, and they definitely don't get their successes handed to them on a silver platter and then pose for a selfie by page 12 after they've effortlessly defeated the foe with one punch. But yeah, I'll leave that to Saitama because they do it well over there.
Right, he's kind of got that one nailed down.
Exactly. Yeah, like our characters definitely have to work hard for their successes, but in the end, they are trying to do the right thing for the right reasons, I think. And we're not trying to say, "Hey, we're deconstructing this." Our characters are not genre savvy. They're not. They don't know that they're in a comic. I'm really tired of that trope. But yeah, definitely. I do want to try to bring some degree of hey, I appreciate the journey that these characters have made, and this is something that I myself can aspire to make as well.
I had no agenda other than this is a dream I've had since I was a teenager. I've tried doing this at least 2 or 3 times already, and they just failed to launch completely. And now now I'm basically on the cusp of actually doing it,
which is pretty incredible to think about, isn't it?
Like I said, that's it. I just want to do something. I just want to do something that I've wanted to do my basically for the past 10 years or even longer.
Wow.
And we will, one way or the other, whether it's through this campaign or however, we will make this happen.
Well, I was gonna ask, so let's say
we'll
the
be
campaign,
there with you guys throughout the whole thing.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're gonna help get these books. Let's talk about that actually for a minute. Which is that we're gonna be using the same printer that printed Jack Irons.
Ooh, and I can say I have a copy of that right here, and you guys did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. I love working with this guy and his team, and getting these books out to you guys. And we work with a indie guy who makes sure that the quality is just really great. And so I'm really happy with the feedback we've been getting from a lot of the readers out there. People have been saying that the pages are just really shiny and really good quality, have a nice weight to it, and just really vibrant colors.
Yeah, I will attest to that last one especially. They came out beautifully on the printed edition of Jack Irons. Well, he has a really very strong team for that book, and the printer really did justice to it.
Nice. Yeah, so people can look forward to really great quality with these books, not in terms of just the art and the writing themselves, but the actual production of the physical printing. And we're gonna get we'll get those out to you fast and on time. So definitely you can be assured that this is gonna be a very smooth campaign.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen evidence of it firsthand. These guys know what they're doing. They're working with very good people, and the product will reflect that.
And we also just got a great compliment in the chat for you guys. Your friendly neighborhood ninja in the chat says, "Let the guys know I'm proud of them, and the art is phenomenal."
Thank you very much.
Ninja.
Thank you.
That's a great thing to say. That's very awesome.
Yeah, I wish I could sincerely say thank you, but the credit goes to our artistic team. Like Leandro, I mean, just look at that dragon picture, for crying out loud. I mean, Leandro, he actually rushed that drawing within a couple of days, and he said, "It's not finished yet, but here." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's not finished."
Like, yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. I guess it's not. I guess it's not colored in, so technically, but it can stand alone just as it is. It's a beautiful piece of work, and the same goes for Bethy and Victor and Ginger. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Now, let's say everything goes smoothly and you guys get funded to your goal. Do you guys have some stretch goals in mind?
Right now, the only stretch goals we have in mind is more stories. Like we want to pay our teams to draw more books.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah, our
And
long
when you
term.
say more books, you mean more in the series?
Yep.
Exactly. Like I just want to get Leandro immediately on to issue 2, and I'm sure the other guys are of the same mind.
Yes, we can't wait to make Leandro work more.
Well, dude, this is the kind of work Leandro wants to do. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten this good at it.
I can't be at the point where I want to be at the point where I can just get Victor and Ginger to the point where they can live off this.
Yeah, criminally insane that all of our artists don't have regular jobs at Marvel or DC.
Yeah, they all have a 9 to 5.
Really?
But as you can clearly see,
Not Ginger. Ginger does not have a job. I can tell that.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Okay, so Ginger doesn't, but the fact of the matter is, yeah, they're all in the same boat we are. Obviously, like they all have these 5 to 9s that their 9 to 5s are paying for, and we're just trying our best to help them turn their 5 to 9 into a 9 to 5.
Nice, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that just shows how passionate even your artists are.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've often said that Changeling would not be what it is without Victor and Ginger. Like, I honestly cannot picture anyone else doing the book at this point.
And they weren't even your first artists, were they? Like, you actually had another artist that you were not able to work with, and so you had to find Victor and Ginger?
Yeah, I did. Well, I found Victor first. Ginger came afterward.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, just because the reason why was the reason why is like Victor can color. Its coloring is solid, but I kind of knew that Changeling was a book that would demand some more atmospheric coloring, so that because I originally I wanted to get someone who could color like Cody's first guy.
Yeah.
And I just I kind of ended up putting out a call saying, "Hey, I need someone to color." I think Ginger was like, I don't remember if anyone else, but I do remember she said, "Hey, I can color." She gave me her portfolio. I looked at it and gave her some sketches to try her hand at, and I think where I knew that she was the right person to do the job was when I had Victor do that pinup of Maeve in that Seahawk gear. Ginger was very meticulous with the coloring. Like, she even added in little details like that, like the texture of the jersey. Like, I just took a look at that and yet, dude, I got it. Like, I mean, I'll say it. I took a chance on both of them and it paid off.
Nice, yeah, that's really exciting. It's always great to see when your team comes together like that.
Yeah.
I remember when you were still looking for artists back a while back, when you were first starting, and you were still kind of shopping around, and then all of a sudden you found Victor, and then everything kind of just snowballed from there.
Like I said, I'm just amazed I actually got here because I'm not. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know how I got here.
I think that's. I think Scott was saying that earlier.
If it's
Well-
anything, I feel the same way.
Well, there's a lot of happy like serendipity and confluences that came together here. I mean, we wouldn't have gotten together had Cody of Jack Irons not gone to Twitter jail, because I said, hey, why don't I set up a Slack channel so that we can talk when he's in Twitter jail? And a few people stopped in once or twice and never showed up again. But Matt and Brett and our friend Tank, we've been hanging out in that Slack channel ever since that day. And that's where all the ideas gelled together. So pretty awesome. Yeah.
Go
That's
back in
funny.
further. It was back when Brett first gave me his script for Changeling and asked if I had any opinions on it.
Man, it's crazy to see how far you guys have come since the beginning, early days of just kind of conceptualizing your projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just getting started. So I'm really glad that we've got to this point to launch the campaign. We got some work ahead of us, but it's the good kind of work. It's the kind of work that doesn't feel like work, in my opinion. So we got we have a fun month ahead of us. I can't wait to see what happens.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Kickstarter campaign right now. We have updated right now. We're at 300. You're at $336 right now.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nice start.
Not bad on a night where everyone's out to see Avengers, I must say.
I
You know-
wonder if people will catch us on the
That is true.
back end, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think someone who was it? Oh, a blind artist was in the chat earlier, and he has a debt because he was going to see Avengers. So I was like, oh man.
You know what's really funny? Because we had initially intended to launch on the 5th, and after I spoke with Brett Smith, and he said, April sucks. Do it after tax day, and we just started throwing dates out. And he and I said, hey, it'd be good, 25th. And I didn't even think to say, hey, is there anything happening on the 25th?
That's funny. I didn't even make the connection myself, honestly.
Yeah. You know what? It's fine. I mean, we're going to be working our tails off all month anyway. We've been doing that. We've been building up to this, and we're not going to quit until the 25th. So whatever happens.
Salem saying we have to put some in Red Wings gear. Well, you're in luck. Althea's from Michigan, Salem.
Yep.
Now, there's a cool thing that's just came out recently. I want to say, it came out on Wednesday number 6, I believe.
Yes, we put out that ad for it. Came out on a Wednesday, from Alterna, right?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up a copy of that because I cannot wait to see what our ad looks like.
Oh hell yes! Guess whose radar I got the Mythoverse on?
Wait, what?
Like Northcott?
Yes.
Oh, nice, Dean. Yeah, that's awesome. She's a great creator.
She is.
It'll be cool.
I've actually tagged her multiple times. I'm really impressed that Brett got a response.
You wore him.
Nice.
You wore her down for him.
Lenore helped too.
Nice,
too.
yeah.
Although I'm going to say that just because we both came up with a redhead character named Maisie, that any kind of similarities between Mythics and her ideas are completely coincidental.
I guess Maisie, redheaded girls just have Maisie is just a good name for that. I guess it just works.
Funny thing is that there's no other redhead named Maisie. So, but hey, I'm flattered that I actually shared a brain wave with her for one moment.
So I'm just pulling up this real quick. This just shows you it came out on Wednesday number 6 issue. It just came out yesterday in shops.
Oh, beautiful.
And And so the Mythoverse guys put an ad in the back of this, a full page ad. And so definitely look forward to that. If you can pick it up, help support the guys over at Alterna and check out the cool ad for the Mythoverse campaign.
Oh God! Speaking of supporting Alterna, last year he ran this incredibly clever idea called Alternaween. For those who don't remember, and you could just order bundles of books, like all age appropriate books, to hand out to kids. And I backed that campaign, but Peter was doing everything all by himself. Like he was fulfilling like thousands and thousands of orders, like 20,000 comics all by himself. And I got mine the day after Halloween, so I still have this whole pile of Alterna comics that I just cannot wait to give out this year.
Dude, I'm with you right there, man. I got me some alternate comics, and yeah, I unfortunately couldn't give out most of them. I don't get that many Halloween trick-or-treaters anymore, you know?
Yeah, I just moved to a neighborhood with a lot of families, so this year I'm gonna be giving them out hand over fist, I hope. Like I have like 4 or 5 kids within 5 or 6 houses of where I'm living right now, and they play with my daughter all the time. So hopefully I'll be able to get them into comics this year, Halloween.
Now, your friendly ninja says, "Boo, Avengers! Yay, Revengers!"
I'm with you, man. Disney's got enough money.
The Avengers are the new team in town, man.
Yeah, I'm joking. Please go see Avengers. Enjoy it. It's been 10 years. Hopefully it's a good payoff. I've been trying to avoid spoilers, but I mean, God, 10 years of movies. I mean, God damn.
Yeah.
Typically, how long a film trend lasts.
Yeah. You think so, man?
We'll see. I mean, I have no idea how they're going to top this event. Like, are they just going to introduce a more powerful villain and then build up to him for another 10 years?
Oh boy,
I don't think I'm going to be able to do that again.
Anything after this point would just feel anticlimactic.
Yeah, I'm going to be in there. I'm going to see what they do, but I do see what you mean. It does. I can see that being a big issue.
Yeah, maybe for the younger people, you know. For me, I'm like spent. My momentum is gone on the Marvel Universe right now. I'm thrilled to see like how they defeat Thanos. I mean, hopefully it's better than in the comics, where they just sort of like trick him into taking his gauntlet off or whatever the hell they did. And then Adam Warlock just says, "Enough! It stops now."
Well, Adam Warlock's not in the movies, as far as I know. So they'll definitely change that part at least.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, so we're gonna start wrapping up here. We're getting towards the end of our show. The Mythoverse. How long is your campaign gonna be going on Kickstarter for?
30 days, so around 9 p.m. on May 25th.
Well, it's 9 p.m. your time.
Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I mean, it goes from when I launch it. So I launched it like just before 9 o'clock. So
if you're on the West Coast like I am, which is the best coast, it's 6 p.m.
Exactly right. So what he said.
Now, do you have an option to extend it at all?
No. You have to set that at the beginning of the campaign, and unlike Indiegogo, there is no option for flexible goals. So we either make the money or it all gets refunded. Or no, I should say it doesn't get charged.
So it's really important there's no chance for it to extend, so it's really important for people who want to see this project come to life to really get in there and back it before it hits that deadline.
Yep. Correct. And that's one of the reasons we went with Kickstarter. We didn't want it to turn into like a store necessarily. We wanted to build the trust with the consumers that are willing to spend money on our project. Like if we don't get the money, you don't get charged. And if we get the money, then it's up to us to fulfill it. So we wanted to put the onus on us as much as possible. We didn't want to have any opportunity for them to think, hey, they're going to get like half their money and then ghost if the campaign doesn't finish. And I don't want to have any perception of that. So that's one of the reasons we went with Kickstarter. Another reason is, in terms of foot traffic, it's definitely better for comic projects that are just starting out. Indiegogo usually benefits those that already have a platform.
This is essentially this campaign. I mean, like, I might be speaking with some hyperbole here, but it's essentially do or die here.
No, yeah, I totally get that. Now we have a last question from Salem LeBlanc in the chat. He asks, "How can we spread the word besides Twitter? Where is
Just
the
do
biggest
anything.
reach?"
Go anywhere. Go if you've got an account anywhere, do it. Like if it's Facebook, plug it there. If it's on DeviantArt, plug it there. If it's on your YouTube, plug it there. Just doesn't matter. Anywhere you can, just do it.
Really, it just any platform is a good place to start, or
Dude, the more the more platforms, the better. If you're in a Discord, plug it there if you can. Just go, do it wherever you can, whenever you can. That's all I can say.
Nice.
Just do it as much as you can.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, get the word out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, is there anything that you guys would like to tell your fans and people looking to back your book?
I will say that there's going to, like I said earlier, it's 100% transparency from us. And if we get the money, the books will go to the backers first and no one else. After that, we'll start seeing about hitting up the reviewers and everybody else. But the backers will get top priority at the end of the campaign.
Yeah, no, that's great. And what would you guys like to say, Matt and Dan? Any final words for your fans out there?
I would say that if I win or lose, we've got this out there, and we intend to make this the best possible product for you to support.
Nice.
Yes.
And we are doing this now.
Yeah.
Well,
regardless of what happens with this campaign, these books will be coming out, but they will be coming out much sooner and with, I would say, higher quality because our artists will be as enthusiastic as we are to turn out their best work if they know that everyone is stoked for it as we are if this campaign succeeds. So please, like Brett said, spread the word anywhere you can. This is good stuff. These are great people we're working with, and I want to see them taken care of, and I want to see you guys with our books in your hands, because that, at the end of the day, is the most gratifying thing for me.
Yeah. Crap. I had something and I lost it.
No, I hate that, man. Maybe it'll come back to you.
Same here.
Yeah, but it does. We'll be done. But yeah, then I will say though, no matter what happens, like I completely appreciate. I 100% appreciate everyone for what they've donated so far, and I also do. I'm 100% am grateful to everyone who supported us this far, because like I can't speak for Matt or Dan, but I can speak for myself. And as I said, I had no agenda going into this other than wanting to fulfill a dream I've had since I was a teenager, and that's it. That hasn't changed since. And I don't want I don't want anyone thinking like, no, even if I get there, I don't want people thinking, oh, now Brett's this comic book shit, he's untouchable. No, I'm not a pro. I never will be. I will never call myself that. I'm just a guy who lives out in Washington. The only difference between me and the readers is I'm the one making the comics. I don't see really any difference between me and anyone else who reads my stuff. Oh, and now I remember what it was. If we make goal and our release, I think we set our release date for September, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if we make goal, the books will be available to the general consumer and backers come September.
And there will also be retail copies available through Wicked Publishing after the campaign completes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like there is going to be there will be digital and print versions available, both to all after the campaign. Yeah. One thing I don't know if we touched on this, but yeah, there was a reason why I think we kind of locked prints to U.S. backers only, which Josh was a little salty about over Twitter, but Troy came in and fixed that. But yeah.
Yeah, international.
I'm not holding it against you, Josh. Shit's yeah.
International. Well, I was just gonna say, international readers can look forward to being able to pick up a retail copy later down the line once the campaign's all finished up.
Yeah. It's just that we crunched the numbers with Wicked before we started the campaign, and we just decided that with shipping costs and import fees, depending on the country, and especially not being able to control who would be supporting us from where. We just decided it was just easier to keep physical copies with the campaign to U.S. backers only. Like, yeah, but yeah, you will be able to get a retail copy internationally once we've got them done.
Yeah, so definitely you'll be able to get your hands on the books, and so don't worry, you'll get your Mythoverse fix soon enough.
Like I said, we weren't trying to squeeze out international backers. It was just easier for us to do it this way.
And it's your first campaign. Who knows where the next one will take you guys and how you'll handle it. So
especially who knows how the company's going to grow. Maybe we'll get to a point where shipping internationally isn't as big a deal.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
I think that given what movie's coming out tonight, it's appropriate to say that you'll get the Mythoverse, whatever it takes.
Sounds pretty fitting. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Nice. And before I ask you guys to tell people where they can follow you online, I just wanted to say that your friendly neighbor Ninja says that excellent job to everyone here. Yeah, I'm very proud, and I can't wait to use that 3D printer. No joke. I hope you can afford it. Would you rather? So that's great to hear. So I'm really looking forward to you guys' campaign as it just starts ramping up today and going forward. So I'm super excited to see where you guys go with this.
So are we, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that Wicked Publishing has given us to share our work with everybody. You guys are some of the most professional, nice, accommodating people I've ever worked with, and I cannot wait to continue doing so.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot to us. I really appreciate that. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of comics and what kind of projects that we get to work on together in the future.
Oh yeah, same here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
I look forward to it at the end of every work day, just thinking about all this stuff that we have going on. It's energizing. It really is.
Yeah, it's a huge year for us at Wicked. It's going to be incredible to see. Just as Sam says, can't wait to see you guys become successful. You're doing great things. I think we got a lot going on this year, so I think there's a lot to look forward to. So I really appreciate that, guys, in the chat. That means a lot to hear you guys say that.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're wrapping up here today, where can people follow you on Twitter and on other social media and the like to find out about your adventures and your work?
Our Instagram is our primary platform for growth in terms of promoting the Mythoverse. So if you're not on Instagram, follow us at Mythoverse Comics.
I will grab it right now.
Yep, that's usually the first place we put any new artwork that our team turns in. And we have that configured to automatically post to our Twitter Mythoverse account and our Facebook account. If you want to follow us on Facebook, it's all you need to do is look for the Mythoverse, and it's right there. It's facebook.com/Mythoverse. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's twitter.com/Mythoverse. And then on Instagram, it's Mythoverse Comics. So yeah, just go ahead and drop those links in there, like you said you're going to do. And I myself am at Molly_Beans on Twitter. And that's primarily where I spend most of my social media time when I'm not managing the Mythoverse accounts.
Oh, they Salem asked if you could give your character accounts as well.
Oh yeah, we do have role playing accounts, and we do have a lot of fun with those.
Sorry, I spit got down my throat.
I think we actually have a little too much
Sorry,
fun with that. I think we have a little too much fun with those accounts. Like we set them up to promote our work, but we end up having like conversations that go on much longer than they need to, just because we have so much fun, like brainstorming what our characters might say in that situation. So my character's account is just Adobe Kroger, one word, at Adobe Kroger. One reason I picked her name is it's very easy to find it available on because it's such an unusual combination. So Adobe Kroger is me. Let me see. And Brett's Maeve McKenzie account is Banshee Maeve. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat there. So because it's not spelled the way you might think, because it's a Gaelic name. Let me see. Then we have Althea, and her name is at Althea Maria. I'll drop that in there too.
I've been dropping him in the Twitter DM.
Oh, you're dropping him in the Twitter DM. Well, look at you. I'm dropping him in the Hangout. So you got stereo links. Okay.
And I'm dropping them in the YouTube link.
Oh, there you go.
We got it covered on all angles.
All right. Yeah. So those are our role-playing accounts. Every now and then they'll have conversations with each other, or they'll comment on something that might be relevant that the character might relate to.
Yeah, like just today, Maeve told Althea that she looks about as old as her mom. That was meant to be a compliment.
I was gonna ask, is that a compliment? But yeah, I guess so.
When she said she meant it as one.
That wasn't taken as one. That was the real question, I guess.
Well, here's what's gonna make you either feel like, oh, that's cute, or either cringe, because like we kind of, let me just put it this way. Maeve's mom is about 10 years older than Althea.
10 years older than Althea?
Yep.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
So to say that, to hear from this kid that, oh, I look about as old as your mom, who is older than me.
Hey, that could go either way though, because she could just be a young-looking mom, you know.
The way Victor draws her.
Yeah, I have a feeling Maeve's mom is going to be a popular character.
Well, I have it so that Althea knows how changes are, and she understands that Maeve isn't coming out of it coming from a place of malice. So she thanks Maeve.
You know, it's like, yeah, she understands. She's just a kid. She doesn't know better.
Yeah, that's true. She's got a lot to learn, I suppose. Nice. Well, we I think that was a great way to launch your campaign. It's out there for the world now, so people can go back it. I'm gonna go ahead and post the chat, or the link for everyone to go and back the book in the chat. But is there any final words that you would like to say?
Thank you so much for believing in our project. If you've backed it, we will not let you down.
Yeah.
Nice, guys. That's awesome. And here's the link one more final time for you guys in the chat. If you didn't get a chance to go check it out, go check it out. They've got a lot of good tiers, a lot of good options to back the single books if you just want one or the other, or if you just want to dive in and get all the Mythoverse books and just jump right in and get started, you can do that too. And I really suggest you guys check it out. This is going to be an amazing shared universe. These guys have really put their heart and their effort, and they're putting a lot of really hard work into this, into making these comics really great. And If you're fans of mythology, folklore, legend, or if you're just into good stories with really interesting and fun characters, I think you guys are going to like this. So please check it out and back these guys, and I know you won't be disappointed. So thanks again for joining us, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been a great campaign countdown, and everyone, as I said, go back to Mythoverse, and we'll see you guys later.
Absolutely. You have a great rest of the week, everyone, and thanks for having us on as always.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for having
guys.
us.
Have a great one, guys.
And
Same here.
see you guys
Good luck as
later.
well.